What's going on, everybody? You know who it is. It's your boy Wham, aka Wham the God, aka Simic Daddy, aka Daddy, aka him. And today we got a lot of catching up to do. I know I've been gone for a while, but I like to see myself as the Black Mary Poppins of magic, or at least cEDH. I'm not always there when you want me there, but I'm there when you need me, or when the seasons change. Whichever comes first. I guess we'll lay out an agenda, but as far as this agenda goes, we're gonna go over a few things as far as where I've been, what I want to do when it comes to the channel, as far as what the focus is going to be. I want to go over a lot of the YouTube space in general when it comes to cEDH, I guess, to raise awareness about some things, and outside of that, I think that'll cover it. If something else hits me, we'll just do that too. But I guess to start off, when it comes to where I've been, well, that's none of your damn business.
On your damn motherfucking business, bitch.
But seriously, I've been around. If you're in the Atlanta area or the Georgia area, you've seen me, I'm around. But I've been, not necessarily falling back from making content. I've just been taking my time with content. I don't think it should be something where it's seen as a super hard job, or something where, I'm constantly giving you guys, I guess, like projects, but not good projects, if that makes sense. I'll cover that more when I get to the whole YouTube space. But overall, I've been good. I'm back. I'm gonna give you guys content, but I've never been the type of person to, do content just because, I just want to put something in front of you. I like to take my time with my content. I like to post when I feel like posting, and I'm probably never gonna change that. So, when we're consistent, we're consistent, but when we're not, that's just because I feel like there's not a lot to say as far as, force feeding you guys things, or, forcing stuff down your throat.
What do you mean by that?
Or making you listen to those type of things. I think that's nonsense. So with that out the way, I guess the first things first, I do want to get into the ban list, actually. As far as bans go, nothing was banned, but a few unbans. The big unbans being Biorhythm and Lutri. Both aren't really necessarily significant, but I can see them both being played in cEDH. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, neither one of those cards are going to see play. I disagree. Actually, they both can see play and do a couple of pretty cool things, and I can't wait to see what some people do with those. I think those are two unbans that are for mostly like the brewers. There are a lot of people who like, copy pasta, or they just copy deck lists and play them. That's not for you guys. Yeah, those are for the brewers that know what to do with them. It's not necessarily what was unbanned that I'm looking at, and I don't think most people should be looking at that specifically either. Instead of focusing on what was unbanned, we should focus on why that's important. The reason it's important is because moving forward, seeing how these things, once you put them back in the wild, introduce them back into the wild, see how they perform, that opens up more possibilities of bans. Hopefully, if things go in the right direction, we'll end up unbanning more things that people actually want. That's actually a huge step forward to removing more things from the ban list, so that we can have more access to more powerful cards and just more overall, brewing spaces and possibilities. The next thing I want to move into is the channel itself. I guess it'll be a mix up of the channel itself and YouTube and cEDH. When it comes to my channel, I think moving forward, I want to focus more on cEDH in the southern regions, because what I've been noticing a lot as far as cEDH gameplays or cEDH content in general is a lot of it isn't necessarily focused in the southern region. It's more in other regions outside of that, and that's cool. But I think the southern regions have a lot to offer, and we're doing a lot of things that people aren't necessarily doing right now. I see a lot of cards that end up getting mentioned on other people's channel that honestly in the south we've been playing for a long time. They've been seeing play for a very long time, and the fact that they're just not being discovered other places is kind of interesting. So with that being said, I'll be putting up some interviews. I'll be more focused on that type of content, even if it's gameplay content, and things of that nature. I'll be looking more towards tournaments based towards our side of things. Not saying that I won't work with other content creators in other regions and things like that, because some of my other homies in the space or in other regions, I'm not saying that they're aren't content creators out there that aren't doing it already, but I think there needs to be more of us. And with that being said, I'll be making more efforts towards that, especially on the interview side of things, and bringing more things, I guess, into the space so people can see these people more, because these people deserve just as much recognition that everyone else is getting. Another thing I think I'm gonna do on the channel is more deck techs. I usually keep a lot of my brews private, but I think I'm just gonna start sharing them all together, because the way I do things or the way I put things together is a little bit different than everyone else.
Stop the cap.
Let's jump into the next thing. Boom, the YouTube space, cEDH, and that whole scope of things. I watch a lot of cEDH content, and I'm aware of a lot of things that go on in the cEDH space. There's a lot of content creators who are just, you know, putting out a bunch of fluff. I'm just gonna be honest. A lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it's not informative. Sometimes it's like an hour's worth of just them glazing themselves, just a glaze session, hour of just glaze session and nothing of value. I'm not trying to shoot down their channels. I'm just saying, if you're gonna bring something and you're seeing yourself as, you know, informative channel, and a lot of you guys kind of like self-proclaim yourselves as the mouthpieces of the format. I actually don't even like that term in general. Saying that you're speaking for a whole format is a lot to say, especially when you don't know a lot of other regions. But with that being said, I think they need to be more aware of what they're doing, what they're saying, and the information that they're giving across. A lot of it is just opinionated, and I know YouTube is just an opinionated space in general, but a lot of it is opinionated takes on things without any practice. You know, saying certain cards or certain play styles or things of that nature aren't as good as others. You have to be careful when you do those things, because when it comes to that, you have to have some practice behind it. You have to have some information behind it. You can't just go willy-nilly saying these things. And I'm also gonna, you know, jump back on the glaze thing. I see nothing wrong with, you know, a little soap glaze here and there. I do it all the time. But to have a whole video on it is very interesting to me, and it's a choice. But with that being said, you have to be careful when you listen to these people and when you're watching their content. You have to take everything that's said with a grain of salt and come to your own understanding and ideas on things. You can't be a sheep. I've said this before, but you have to be able to understand what you're listening to. And sometimes some of the content that you end up watching isn't even necessarily something that you should take seriously. A lot of takes and a lot of opinions are coming from people who aren't even, you know, in the cEDH sphere that much, or even play tournament cEDH, or, you know, don't really have a grasp of everything that goes on in that environment. A big one being, I think I've seen this content for a while too. It's very entertaining. But that Mill guy, he says a lot about cEDH, but he doesn't really play cEDH like that. I think he comes from a 60 card format, and his takes are more from a casual standpoint. A lot of it's just rage baiting, and you guys got to be able to take that with a grain of salt and understand where he's coming from. When he says these things, you can't be like, oh, he's completely wrong, and just go into his page. That's what he wants anyway, but it is what it is. He's coming from a standpoint of not understanding everything that goes on. Now, once he goes in, and let's say he wants to get in there and, you know, play a lot of tournaments and get as much information as he can, I think then his ideas and perspective on a lot of things might change more. But until then, like I said, take it with a grain of salt, challenge it. I'm not saying everything he says is wrong. He has a good ideas every now and then, but I'm just saying you have to understand what you're viewing. You can't take everything as 100% the gospel. Even with my channel, if I say something and you don't like it, by all means, you're open to say what you want to say. There have been many times people have gotten in the comments and said and told me that they don't agree with what I say. And that's okay too. I'm glad everyone has their opinions. I like stuff like that. We might not agree at the end, but at the end of it, at least I know you have your own opinion, and I respect that way more than, you know, someone who just goes along with things. I think another thing that I want to get into is, you know, maybe rattling off a couple channels where I think that the information is actually very accurate, and I think that the information is valid, and it's something that if you really want to, you know, stick close to it and maybe not necessarily use it as a Bible, but, you know, say, hey, you know, this is very informative. I'm getting a lot from this. Let's get these type of takeaways, and you want to get better at the game. I think a lot of the information that you should be, I guess, digesting is coming from channels like Drake Academy. That's a newer channel actually, but lots of knowledge gets passed in there in between, you know, some funny moments, but they teach a lot there, and a lot of it is true. Outside of Drake Academy, oh, you know what I do? I'm gonna put links to those YouTube channels in the discussion area, whatever you call it. But yeah, Drake Academy's one. Another one's going to be Sam's Black channel. I think it's called Sam. I think it might just be called Sam Black, but he has like a ongoing playlist called Sam Black's Table, and he goes over a lot of these things. He not only talks about cEDH, a lot of it is focused there, but he also talks about other formats. But a lot of those other formats can relate back to cEDH. Brilliant guy. Just really good at pretty much a lot of different formats, but he breaks things down. He lets you know what's going on. He actually discusses his card choices, gives you other options, and why those card choices could also be seen as valid, which is, you know, something that a lot of people need to understand. A lot of card choices have to have a good reasoning behind them. People who just tell you a card is bad can't tell you why it's bad specifically, but just say it's bad. I honestly wouldn't listen to those things because they can't even, you know, voice why they're doing what they're doing. So yeah, follow that channel. Another one would have to be Casting Cost cEDH. That's a really good channel. Now, those guys just sound like they're in a podcast, just hanging out, you know, sitting back, kicking the shit. And I appreciate that. But they're also, again, doing interviews, giving you knowledge on things, helping you get better, going over deck techs. They have gameplays that they're doing now. That's more of a newer thing, but even those are really good. They're learning as you're learning, and I think that's one of the best ways to do things as well. So I'm gonna put their link too. Shout out to the homies. Another one is going to be actually deck tech for decks. Most of his content is more towards the casual side, but he's actually getting more into cEDH at the moment. So he does deck techs for both, but he goes over certain cards, even if it's in casual. A lot of these cards have really good, interesting premises and theories behind them if you actually can put it into a cEDH game. So he goes over a lot of these different cards that could work in theory, and like some of them you practice and you see they're actually really good. But even with him, he's going over, you know, deck techs. He'll go over cEDH, he'll go over casual, and there's a lot of joining elements between these two formats, believe it or not, which I think is also really interesting. So I would actually advise you to, you know, subscribe to his channel too. Another channel is, subscribe to the boys, subscribe to me if you want to. I'm not even gonna force that. If you like what I'm doing, then subscribe. If you don't, then that's cool too. Just give a boy what up when you see him. Who cares? Boom, I missed one. Of course, cEDH TV, Mon's channel. That's another big one. He comes with so much information. He comes with data, comes with analysis. If there's something to be aware of, he points that out. Everything that he says makes sense, and he backs it up with like facts, data, proving it, going over millions of tournaments. I don't even know how he gets all that data all the time. He's almost like the Bill Nye, the science guy of cEDH. So yeah, that's a really good channel too. I think that's probably one of the bigger ones that I first started watching, and that hasn't failed yet. Like, just it's perfect. One of the more perfect channels, I think. And as far as gameplay goes, there are a million gameplay channels you can watch, but the one that stands the test of time, of course, Playing with Power. Playing with Power is another big channel for gameplay. They go over everything. They let you know what's happening. Probably one of the best gameplay channels out there, if not the best. I mean, most people tend to template their channels if they do gameplays after that. Oh, and the last one, Play to Win. Play to Win is another one. It's very funny channel, just very nice. It's put together very well. They turn chaos into order. I don't know how they do it. They do it every time. They go over it from a perspective of, again, people who are playing the game, who have knowledge, but they're still learning just like everyone else is learning. They go in depth on cards sometimes. They give you these crazy, weird scalings and gradings on cards that don't necessarily really matter. It's more about them explaining the card and how it works in the meta. Just the overall meta analysis as well. Just like Mon's channel, just like every channel I've named, they go over things, they understand the meta, and they attack it from that standpoint. Another big channel has got to be Lamore's Cards. You know, everyone probably knows that channel, but if you don't, I'll put that down there too. That's another one you look at. They go over tournaments, go over deck techs, they come with analysis. They discuss certain cards and why they're good in the meta or things to be aware of. They even teach you about the game, teach you how to play the game, teach you about certain parts of the game. That's a really good channel that he's actually grown over a long time. And I can understand why it is where it is. Outside of that, I think I named most of them. I'm pretty sure I'm missing like one or two, And people are going to be in the comments like,
what about this channel? What about that channel? What about this channel?
Well, if you watch the channel, good. You know what? Put that in the comments too. If there's another channel I need to be aware of, just put it in the comments. I'm pretty sure that I just forgot to name it. That's really all it is. But again, even with those channels, just make sure you're listening for the content, for knowledge, and that you question these things that they're saying. You should always be questioning things to come to your own understanding. I know I keep saying that, or I've said it before, but that's very important. You just want to be as optimal and efficient as you can with your time when it comes to learning this game. The better you are at that, the better you are with putting up results, winning games, and just being better overall. I think that's just something I really had to talk about. I've been waiting a while to get back on the mic, just to tell you guys how I'm feeling, but I've never been one to rush into things. I like to get my thoughts together and then come at it from that angle. You just have to be aware of some of these channels. If you're watching a channel and they have like an hour-long video and all you hear is them talking about just randomness, there's nothing going on, they're not giving you any value, it just sounds like they're just glazing each other and talking about how good they are, talking about their wins and losses, but they're not even giving you any information about the wins or losses, you're wasting your time there. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, you're wasting your time there. If you don't take anything away from someone's video, then it's not a good video. Even if it's just for entertainment. If you're not entertained in the video, you're wasting your time. I think we covered everything here, but it's good to be back. I just wanted to cover these things real fast. I guess a short intro video. Following up on this will be the interviews that I did with a few people, and this is actually from the Atlanta organization AP9. I'll be doing a few interviews with them. I have 2 so far, and I'll go ahead and post those later on in the week, if not beginning of next week. And from there, I'm going to do some more things with them. I just like to get this information out to everyone. I'm also looking into, eventually we're going to get with Dallas. We're going to get it together. And I want to talk to him about, of course, himself, as well as his organization, Monolith. And from there, we're going to bang some more information out, some more content out. But I don't want to sit here and just do what everyone else is doing, because that stuff doesn't necessarily interest me all the time. I'm gonna be honest, it just doesn't interest me all the time. But yeah, that's the video. I said, any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comment section. If you love the video, tell me that there too. Like the video, subscribe, follow, all those good things. But the biggest thing being, let's take care of each other. Let's build a bigger community. Let's be nice to one another. Let's do it. All right. Thank you for your time.